All right, let's have a look. Okay, so this one is for you, Virgo. That's you over here. This is Tarot Lumination, and this is your mini generic love and relationship report for the November 2018 season. If you've been here before, you kind of know the drill already, but I have to repeat a few things for new arrivals. First off, cross-watch for significant others. You know, it can really help if you're struggling to understand the dynamics of your relationships. Also, please, when we're doing this, invite your invisible friends, your spirit guides, angels, and guardians, all of it. Beings from beyond, even loved ones from beyond. Also, watch for your sun, moon, and rising if they're all different. And you can figure that out yourself, okay? You'll have to do that, all right? So those are the basics. We're going to use the crucible spread here from Tarot Lumination. It's on the understanding that there's you, Virgo, a significant other, and a third entity, the relationship itself, okay? So not everybody operates that way, but at Tarot Lumination we operate that way because we consider the relationship to have a structure, and the structure is kind of like a bowl. And in a healthy relationship, both parties invest in the structure, the bowl, and they do the repairs and maintenance just like they would with a business. Excuse me, cards are flying all over. Please don't read any significance into that. The crucible in a healthy situation would be a very durable structure, kind of like they use in science labs. The bowl can withstand intense pressures of alchemical reactions, and it's the same inside human relationships as we intimate and separate constantly like the ocean waves. It puts stress on the relationship itself and the parties, the individuals in the relationship. Before we get into it, I just want to show you a couple of things on the Astro Doodles here from Tarot Lumination. Let's see, I'm just going to put this stuff aside. Hold on. If you want to get into the deep personal stuff, I highly recommend visiting the general reports. It's a completely different playlist, and it's already out, okay? This is much more about relationships specifically, so I only concentrate on a few spots in the chart. And this is the full set of notes. And these are just personal notes, and I'm just sharing them with you. What I'd like you to do is understand that for all Virgos, Neptune is still here right in the middle of your 7th house. And Neptune has this tendency to idealize things, create this sense of heavenly blessings and divinity and purity and love, universal type of love, almost like a divinely blessed relationship. And the shadow side, of course, is everything that's not. So you end up with all the worst aspects of relationship, like betrayal, treachery, lies, deception, disappointment, losses, and failures, and all the horrible things that can happen in relationships that are sometimes very hard to understand or diagnose or pin down. The next thing we have, again, I'm going to say that Neptune's already living there, okay? It's going to be here for years to come, all right? So please allow for that. This, you might notice it a lot more. Mars is moving into Pisces on the 17th, okay? There's a lot of action around the middle of the month, a lot of shuffling and changes going on for everybody. When Mars moves into your 7th house, that can stimulate things, aggravate things, make things combative, competitive, exciting, passionate, and just stir things up. And it's opposing you. This is the Virgo energy over here, and this is your other half, so to speak, over here, the 7th house of relationship. That's the axis. Over here in your 5th house of true love, we still have Pluto and Saturn living there, long-term journeys. So in some ways, Virgo, this is very harmonious for you. This is in some ways potentially challenging, but also very beautiful. Basically, there's a lot going on for you right now in love and relationship, but you might not notice it in day-to-day because a lot of this is very deeply buried, hidden type of currents with the Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn. So what I thought I would do is to focus on a couple of real special things. Let's just focus on the moon, because where the moon sits can often create those shadow feelings, those feelings of fear and subliminal subconscious behaviors and energies that we're not aware of, and it's just your limbic system doing what it does. So all I'm suggesting here is a couple of dates. When the moon is in Capricorn around the 11th and 12th, okay, right here, please be very close attention to what you are feeling in love and relationship, okay? Just make a note of it. Not good or not bad, just make a note of what you're feeling and allow for any fears to come up. What are they? Define them. This will help you. Also, moon in Pisces, 16th and 17th, right over here, combining with Mars and Neptune. What do you feel here in the more significant dynamic of relationship, the actual contract of relationship? Again, please make a note. Allow any fears to show up and don't try to bury them. What are they? Define them, and that will help you. Once you know what they are, know the enemy. Often the enemy is ourselves inside of us. Okay, let's do this. The cards are already well shuffled in advance. We're just going to go to the last second so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. I want to thank all of you for all the likes and subscribes. It really, really helps. If you're not subscribing yet already, please do so. It makes a difference. Also, please consider looking at the links below for the first Friday group healing events. First Friday of every month. Check the links below. It's sort of like what we do on Sunday Night Live, but it's in person live. And lastly, this is really, really important for the Tarot Illumination channel now, because it's still, it's so much harder to grow a channel now because there are thousands of tarot channels. And when Tarot Illumination started only a short while ago, there were radically smaller numbers. So we're going towards Tarot Illumination membership. Please check that out below. Okay, check the links out below. This is your way of saying thank you directly in a way that really has an impact. Okay, here we go. You'll see how, thank you for your patience in listening to all that intro stuff. Cards are well shuffled. Here we go. Bless you, Virgo, for showing up here and picking Tarot Illumination. Bless the cards, bless the whole deck, bless the whole channel and all the electricity and YouTube and the wires and internet and everything. Over here is you, Virgo, the energy. What are you radiating? Think of yourself like a cell phone in voice mode. Over here, what are they radiating? Even if you're a single, you can allow for the laws of attraction. Maybe think of this as what if. I'm not going to tell your future for you. You have to figure these things out. Mostly this is for people who are already relating, okay? Over here deep inside of you, over here deep inside of the other, and over here at the core itself, the relationship. So I'm hoping you see this as the ball, as the structure in which the relationship is conducted as we intimate and separate. We intimate and separate in an infinite dance that goes on forever, just like the ocean waves. Over here, prospects and momentum. What are you creating? Is this like just like a weed out of control? Is your crucible leaky? Has it got weak foundations, or is it well structured and well maintained and well repaired? It's up to you, Virgo. This is your reading. It's not a couple's reading. Remember that. We're just allowing for the presence of a significant other. Over here, circumstantial energy, environmental influences. I like to think of it as the weather. We have the Ten of Swords. So this might be my feeling instantly is that this is something to do with the full moon towards the end of the month, the Gemini Sagittarius thing, which is potentially quite stressful for you because it's on hard angles. Okay, I'm just going to point it out here. The full moon, it's around the 22nd, okay, 23rd, and the sun moving into Sagittarius at the same time. It's wonderful in general. It's just the cycles of life. The planets doing what they do, but you might feel it quite acutely because it's right here on the hard angles here affecting you and your relationship. Okay, so that's what I'm sensing, is that you being very sensitive. Virgos tend to be very sensitive, like they have very acutely tuned antennas. You might already be sensing like the stress level building up here. The Scorpio energy in general is quite supportive for you. It's, you know, November season, but it's at the end of the month where I'm sensing this, where you start to realize, oh my gosh, like it becomes very evident how you are at the center of all of this. This is your relationship. It isn't, you can't blame everything that's wrong on someone else, and they can't blame everything that's wrong on you. It's something that you guys own, okay? And then my feeling is you come to stark realizations about what is no longer acceptable, and you start realize, oh my God, I keep doing it over and over again. I end up pulling myself in a position of being a pincushion for everybody else. Not acceptable. This has to stop. Okay? This might be a loud message. It might be an uncomfortable message by the end of the month. So you have time to prepare. You don't have to be, crushed by this. All I'm suggesting is that be aware that you could start feeling some of those shadow things that I talked about, especially around those dates where you get these feelings crystallized and you get stark realizations of how relationship dynamics work. And if you're here at Tarot Illumination, you're obviously resonating at higher frequencies and looking at relationships from a much higher perspective rather than just like, well, what can I get out of you? Well, what are you trying to get out of me? Huh? Well, tit for tat, tit for tat. No, it's much more than that. It's a sacred journey. So what are you radiating here? Okay, the Six of Cups. So my feeling is a lot of the dynamics that you might experience through this season right now would be in the context of what you could feel is soulmate relationship type of like feelings. So that's why I focus so heavily on the moon for you, the moon transit this month, because moon in Capricorn over here, your fifth house of true love, moon in Pisces over here, your house of one-on-one relationship, for better or worse, all the best and all the worst of it. Those are going to be lit up around those dates. And you might feel it inside as a soulmate type of connection where all these things from the past are coming at you. Venus is still retrograde at the early parts of the month. So again, relationship dynamics are highly stressed, and that's for everybody. I'll see if I can find it over here for you. Hold on. Venus goes direct around the 17th. So for the first half of the month, the stress levels could be quite high, simply because Venus is still retrograde over, where is it? Where's Libra? Venus goes direct in Libra. Over here, okay? Sense of worth, sense of self-worth. But for the up till the 17th, it's still retrograde in your house of value and values. So please be aware of that. The Scorpio thing works really well for you in general, but there's so many like layers below the surface that are highly stressed. And I feel I'm obliged to let you know so that you don't get feeling of hijacked or, hoodwinked or betrayed or whatever, bushwhacked in love and relationship, because you don't deserve it anymore. You don't need it. You have a chance to grow out of this, but it means you have to be aware of what's not working. You've got to reveal it to heal it. So please see all these potential stressful aspects as a way to identify what's not working. What about the other? Okay, King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles energy over here, my feeling is that in some ways, this is actually very sweet. If we just blink and forget everything Tarot Illumination just said, you might feel as though you are in a satisfying relationship with a significant other who's got their act together, at least when it comes to the three-dimensional aspects of life. Now, often that means having great skills at manifestation, money, finances, structure, keeping it together, creating a really genuine, solid physical reality, and all the what would be the hallmarks of a person who's got it together in love and relationship. Now, with the Pentacles, I like to think of those as tokens of love when it comes to a love or relationship reading. Even though it's a lot of it to do with materialism and money, I like to think of it as tokens of love, value. So you might be relating with someone who does value you very highly. And as you're going through this relationship period time, November 2018, at a subliminal level, you're getting a lot of very, very detailed glimpses of anything and everything that's out of whack with this. Because you know how some people get situations where there's a lot of good stuff going on, and without an attitude of gratitude, you can start taking that for granted. And then that's when things start to go wrong. So I'm just kind of being very cautious here with the reading. All right, Virgo? What are you radiating over here? Okay, with Temperance. Okay, so this is kind of a card of magic in ways because To me here, it really feels about healing. It's like deep down, you want to heal. Deep down, you need to heal. You need to heal in the context of love and relationship. And, it's not surprising here. It's almost, I don't know if the other astrologers and tarot people are doing it this way, but this is a lot of very heavy duty pressure on true love and romance. This is a lot of pressure on love and relationship. It can be very, very tough to navigate those energies. They're very like deep ocean, depth of the ocean type of currents. And yet here you are, you have to function in day-to-day life thinking of like, oh, are we supposed to go grocery shopping this? Oh, I thought it was your turn. Oh, I thought it was your turn. Are you going to be home late? I don't know. I'm so busy making money at work. I was going to ask you if you could take, give me a break. I'm going to be back late. Can you do all the kid stuff and the chores? Well, it's great. We got a soulmate relationship, but I think we need to go deeper. Gosh, you should be grateful. Oh, I am grateful. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. Okay, deep down, what are they radiating over here? Four of Swords. So with the Four of Swords here, they might be also in their own position of being like, let's say, stressed out with the relationship to the point where they would actually like to check out. It's almost like, again, no offense, Virgo, but because there's so much stuff happening below the surface for you, where it could be like those tremblings that you get before volcanoes and stuff like that. Or, I'm not trying to, scare you or anything here, but I think you need to be very aware of the deep currents that are existing in love and relationship right now. Love and relationship, and combining it all together. What does that look like for you? I think it's extremely important to be very acutely aware of what you are feeling this month and being able to put that in words, okay? And it might almost be too much for the significant other where, given their wish, if they could just, make it happen and just act for their own benefits and disregard you and disregard the relationship, they would choose to step out, step away, just chill, and basically remove themselves from any kind of conflict at all. Okay? Because they might need healing just as much as you might need healing, but going about it in a different way. Sometimes healing requires going deep within, deep into that pool with a significant other. Remember, we still have this huge Scorpio stellium going on, so especially earlier in the month, and that's pushing everybody to go deep within when it comes to intimacy and what it is that you truly value about others and the other truly values about you. And it looks like the intentions are so good here between you and another and you. But deep down, there's a very powerful message here that we need healing. I need healing. They need healing. The relationship needs healing. So how are we going to go about doing that? Especially if you've got something that's good already. And like a lot of people, I don't want to mess with what's good. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Just let it lie, let it good. But my feeling is that there's stuff that needs attention, and it needs attention. So let's have a look. What about at the core here? With the Ten of Pentacles, my feeling is that you've got something sturdy that you can lean on. So no matter what the stressors are that we talked about with our Illumination, it looks like the relationship has the ability to handle it, okay? Like whatever is not working with you guys, it needs to be brought into a conversation. It needs to be addressed without any kind of malice or pointing fingers or blame or anything. And instead, trusting in the relationship. It's almost like, honey, we've got something really good here. Very, very valuable, okay? I dig you, you dig me. I feel it's like a soulmate relationship. And I do too, but I have to concentrate on business. And so it's almost like, let's have a look at what we both need, what we both know needs fixing. We both know there are things that need healing, okay? Oh, okay, all right. We've got the strength. Our relationship is very strong in its own way. We've got all the talents and gifts and resources that we need for this to happen. So let's do it. Oh gosh, do we have to do it now? Well, actually, yes, I'm the Virgo person and I'm technically stressed out. And I don't want to push all this stuff under the carpet. Well, that's actually a very smart, strategic approach to solving problems. Well done. Actually, you're right. Let's do this. Executive decision. Well done. And so the relationship is almost drawing you into this vortex of stability where both sides go deep, deep, deep within. However you do it, subliminally, subconsciously, face to face, going out to dinner, kitchen table meeting, preferably not lots of texts, preferably face to face in a very compassionate, loving, almost business-like way. Nothing, you don't have to be all gooey and romantic about this. You can be very business-like and treat the whole thing as literally like a business that needs repairs and maintenance and attention. Okay? Venus still retrograde. And by the way, Mercury's going to go retrograde. So there's a lot of shifting going on this month, and a lot of it's going to really have a chance to blindside you if you're not careful. You know, the things that we talked about here, yeah, it would be easy to skate through, thinking that you could skate through the month just because you've got this and because the relationship has value and stability at the core. However, even the best of all relationships have their weaknesses, their points of fragility, and I have a feeling you're going to find out what they are when these angles are aspected, when this angle is aspected, when this angle is aspected, at certain very specific calendar moments. I will hold this still for you, so if you need to, you can make a note of those particular dates. How do you feel at those particular times? Make a note of it. Be willing to consider bringing that into a conversation, especially towards the end of the month. Okay? Gosh, I hope this helps you, Virgo. If you need to, you know what to do. Get in touch. Let's have a look what's happening over here. Eight of Swords. Okay. My feeling is that it's almost inevitable that you're going to get swept into something that you would rather not have to deal with, but eventually it has to be dealt with. You know, it's just almost like a car or a house or a business. I don't want to dull the romance or overstate the mechanics of relationship. I'm just trying to be very neutral, okay? So my feeling is that it's inevitable for you, Virgo, that you're going to be stressed and feeling stressed about certain things. It doesn't mean the end of the world, the end of the relationship, where they don't know you or anything like that. It just seems like it's a perfectly natural consequence of these shifting patterns. You don't have to blame. Like if you're feeling extremely comfortable in a soulmate relationship or uncomfortable, especially, you don't have to blame them. You don't have to blame them. You can just say, well, this is how things are. It's just like, well, what do you expect, honey? This is the weather. These are the circumstances. This is what's happening right now. We need to deal with this. And in so dealing with it, what happens, my feeling is with the Eight of Swords, you guys, in the context of your relationship, both realize that, yes, it's much more complicated than you had thought. And as good as it might be in its own way, there's always work that needs to be done. Anybody who owns a business, owns a house, owns a car knows this. There's always a never-ending schedule of tasks, works, chores, repairs, maintenance that need to be done basically on a daily basis, frankly, in order to keep things operating smoothly. Any business owner knows that, okay? And you can apply those strategies very, very effectively in a loving relationship too. And so what you might realize with the Eight of Swords is like, my gosh, Lumination was onto something at least a little bit. I kind of get it now. Let's not make this personal. Let's just treat this as business. What are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? What are the signifiers in the maze and the puzzle of our relationship? How do you feel about me? How do I feel about you? How do you feel about the relationships? What are your thoughts on these matters? What am I doing wrong? What are you doing wrong? Let's get this all out. It's almost literally like a business meeting, putting it on paper. And that can be potentially very healing for you, Virgo, very healing for the other. and very healing for the relationship itself. My feeling is that the other doesn't actually want to do any of this at all because they're preoccupied with being awesome. But my feeling is that it's worthwhile bringing up the stressors and mentioning whatever they are and putting them on the kitchen table and calling a meeting. Okay? Sorry to sound so practical and unromantic, but I'm trying to be as helpful as I can. All right, Virgo? Thank you so much. All the best. Hold on. Let me just put this over here. You can reinterpret however you want. You know the routine. Please consider becoming a member. It would be by far the most valuable way you can say thank you. Okay? Well done, Virgo. You can handle this. Don't worry. Bye.